He has an album coming out entitled Back on Death Row that's dropping this week. I'm talking about your homeboy Snoop Dogg, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Snoop Rock, as they used to call him way back in the day. Coincidentally, in addition to having an album dropping that's entitled Back on Death Row, it has been found out this evening that he has purchased and he is now the owner of Death Row Records. I'm doing this kind of on some real genuine, like as I hear it, learn and dish it out as I hear about it. So all I've seen were little headlines about it, about Snoop Dogg having now being the owner of Death Row. So let's actually dig into an article so, I could find out more details and so can you. Check it out. All right. Where we at? Snoop Dogg buys Death Row Records from Blackstone affiliate. Hip hop icon Snoop Dogg has acquired the Death Row Records brand from MNRK Music Group, a song publishing and recording company backed by private equity firm Blackstone Inc. The deal was expected to include Death Row's entire music catalog, said a person familiar with the transaction who asked not to be identified because the details weren't public. Financial terms were not disclosed. Started in the early 1990s, Death Row was home to several important West Coast hip hop artists: Pac, Dre, Little Bow Wow, Nate Dogg, and Snoop. They don't mention it, but we also got to throw Dog Pound. Shit, we got to throw RBX up in the mix. Home to a lot of influential people in early 90s gangster rap. You know what I mean? The label went bankrupt in 2006 and was later acquired by an entity called Entertainment One, which toy maker Hasbro Incorporated bought in 2019. Blackstone snapped up the label last year via its $385 million purchase of Entertainment One's music business. I did not know that. I was aware of Hasbro acquiring the company, but I didn't know since then that hot potato passed through some other hands. Interesting. Music catalog deals have heated in the past year as megastars have looked to cash in. All right, they're going through other examples. Okay, it says Snoop Dogg appears to be banking on the longevity of the early recordings by Death Row Records. Now we're going to quote Snoop himself. I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value. Snoop Dogg said in a statement, "Feels good to have ownership of a label that I was a part of the beginning of in my career and as one of the founding members." A representative for Blackstone declined to comment further. A spokesperson for Snoop couldn't be immediately reached for comment beyond that statement. Born Calvin, Brodus, Snoop Dogg release, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so what do y'all think about that? I think it's a little interesting that Snoop Dogg already has an album on deck. That means it's been recorded, it's been promoted, it's been marketed, and set for a release date. An album already on deck entitled Back on Death Row, right? Because if he acquired Death Row today, that means that album title and everything was planned, it was hooked up, it was printed or sent to the streaming places or whatever ahead of time, ahead of him buying Death Row Records. Yet today it's confirmed that he owns Death Row Records. Now it could be as simple as, he knew that the deal was in the bag. They just had to like dry the ink on the contract, dot some T's. I mean, dot some I's, cross some T's or whatever. He could have known, for who knows how long, a couple of weeks, that he was going to own it, that the deal was going to go through, thus making an album to help promote it. One hand wash the other's back or whatever. Album entitled Back on Death Row promotes his ownership of Death Row. His ownership of Death Row promotes new album that he has, which presumably will be on his own label, I guess. So what do y'all think? Because you always got to look at it as anything in the entertainment business. You always got to look at the plausibility that is completely staged, that is all script is already written. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, Snoop owns Death Row. He's coming out with a Back on Death Row. It's all happening within minutes, right in front of your eyes. Ooh, look, it's magic. You know what I'm saying? So there's always that possibility. But what do y'all think? I saw a comment or two when I was just like looking at it briefly. People were saying, "Oh, now the Crips are gonna own it," whereas before MOB, Pyru, Bloods owned it or whatever. Even though if you look at the early, 90s Death Row, it was Bloods and Crips. It was always kind of like a balance of both. So, and as I understand, there was a heated war in between them, between like Dog Pound and the mob Pyru. There was some tension there, or whatever. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. What do y'all think? There it is. Um, I'll find out just along with all of y'all any more details that are added that come about beyond this. I did see a headline. This dude, Delray Richardson, which you could find. He has great Tupac stories. You could check him out on The Art of Dialogue. That's the name of that channel. He's done a few interviews there. I saw a headline from him from his personal channel. I forget the exact name now, where it said something to the capacity of, yes, Snoop acquired Death Row, but he does not own the music catalog. You know, and I made note of that when I read this article because, according to this article, it says the deal is expected to include Death Row's entire music catalog. So, which is actually the deal? Who knows? But that's interesting. We're talking all the Tupac stuff. We're talking about the unreleased works that they may not have made Tupac albums of. Now he has, control of that. You also got to think on another one, a Tupac thing, according to the storyline or whatever's been going on. Pac and Snoop had friction. People were saying Snoop was hating on Pac before he passed. Pac was upset that Biggie was talking about, yeah, Puffy and them my homeboys and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Snoop inducted Tupac in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after Pac passed, and he was decked out in some satanic looking garb of sorts. You know what I mean? That thing had like a weird feel to it or whatever. Um, who knows? I'm not trying to vilify the man. I'm just basically speaking it as I see it. So him now being, at the head of Tupac material, you know what I'm saying? Of fire joints that they could still, produce into new albums and stuff like that. Even his prior catalog, he now has Pac's Death Row stuff. He could make greatest hits. He could do all types of things. Those of y'all that are aware of the Tupac Snoop friction, how do y'all feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Personally, I will say this. Aside from all of that, if I had to pick one individual that it would make sense, that is now alive, that it would make sense being in control of Death Row and actually doing something to it, one individual that is a citizen that's out, that's not locked down, I honestly can't think of anyone else other than Snoop that it would be. I mean, maybe Daz, because as I understand, Daz is a savvy businessman. So on that type of level, we could probably do something. Snoop's been, I mean, he's has his hands into everything, so I'm sure he's no stranger when it comes to entrepreneurship and in regard to running labels. His doggy style imprint, I'm not sure how that label is. I really don't know of anyone offhand that Snoop has developed as an artist that has come out. You know what I'm saying? But when we're working with a catalog of old material and turning that into something, or even unreleased Tupac material and turning that into something, making more albums and stuff. As far as from an artistic level, it makes a lot of sense to me. You know what I'm saying? It fits. So, what do y'all think?